Hey you guys, it's Britt. Tonight we're here to talk about Gypsy Rose Blanchard doing a paternity test before her baby is even born, which is not anything that I really thought would happen, but either way, we're going to hear from Ryan. We're also going to talk about kind of what she did and also some interesting accusations that he had for her. So if you're interested in any of that, then please keep watching. All right, you guys, so as we know, Gypsy Rose and Ken and Ryan have kind of had this tit for tat kind of dynamic on social media for a long time now. And there's been a lot of questions as to, okay, she's pregnant, who's the father going to be, what's going on? Like, it's very messy, and I already feel bad for this kid, to be quite honest. But she went ahead and took it upon herself to do an early paternity test instead of waiting until the child is born, which is what Louisiana law requires because she was still legally married when she conceived this child. So People magazine is reporting right here, pregnant Gypsy Rose Blanchard took a pre-birth paternity test to prove Ken Euchre is her baby's father. Very unusual. And of course, we all know that she's expecting in January of 2025, and it says Gypsy Rose Blanchard has completed a paternity test ahead of the birth of her first baby, People can confirm. The 33-year-old and her boyfriend Ken are currently expecting their first baby together, but as a Louisiana attorney previously confirmed to People, her ex Ryan Anderson will be listed as the father on the infant's birth certificate if they have not been divorced for 300 days at the time of the birth. Currently, Blanchard and Anderson are still married per Lafourche Parish court records. Currently, Blanchard and Anderson are still married. Following the realization of this Louisiana law, a source close to Blanchard tells People that she completed a procedure called a non-invasive prenatal paternity test, also known as NIP, to prove that Ken is the father of her daughter on the way. Ryan's attorney, Randy Fust, has told People that Blanchard's test before birth was highly unusual. In the 40-something years of practice of myself and other attorneys in this office for combined longer periods of time, we have never seen someone do a pre-birth paternity test because there is no need to do that. Usually you wait until the birth of the child and then the paternity test is done. And if it turns out, as we suspect, the child is her current boyfriend's, then the birth certificate is changed in order of the court subsequent to the birth of the child. It's highly unusual and unnecessary, and it's a procedure that sometimes requires taking DNA from an unborn child. So that's her business, and she's certainly welcome to do it. Ryan has no objection to it, but just as his lawyers do, finds it very unusual. A source close to Blanchard also told People that the test she completed was the non-invasive kind. It's very low risk. It only required her blood and a swab from Ken's DNA from his cheek, since Blanchard's blood is circulating in her baby's body. According to the Cleveland Clinic, a NIP test analyzes fetal DNA in the pregnant person's blood. A provider will take a blood sample after your 8th week of pregnancy. They send the samples to a lab where a specialist analyzes trace amounts of the fetus's DNA in the blood sample and compares it to the DNA in a cheek swab from the potential non-birthing parent. Claims that it's 99.9% accurate and very safe. Gypsy and Ken announced that they were expecting their first baby together in January 2025, sharing the news in July. The Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup star filed for a divorce from Anderson, whom she married in 2022, in April of 2024. Bo Brock, an attorney in Louisiana who has practiced family law, among other things, for 32 years, spoke with People in July about why this Louisiana law is in place and how it will affect Blanchard, Euchre, and Anderson. There's a legal presumption in Louisiana that if you have a child while you're married, it's presumed to be the husband's child. It's done that way to protect the child. All laws in Louisiana concerning paternity are designed to protect the child and make sure the child has a father and a mother to provide for them. So that presumption can be overcome by DNA, and that's what people have to do. Aside from taking a DNA test to determine the father, Anderson could have signed an affidavit confirming that Ken is the father, ensuring Ken's name will go on the birth certificate. However, as Brock told people, in these kinds of situations, we always recommend to do a DNA test because there are overlapping hookups that are possible. You don't know. What a messy start this poor child is going to have entering into this already demented and at times scary world. Now, aside from Gypsy over on her TikTok sharing a bump photo and putting totally random music behind it, I want to jump over to Ryan's TikTok that he posted just literally not even a day ago. And he said, "My thoughts on DNA test from my heart. Real talk, Team Ryan." Let's allow him to speak and then I'll give my final thoughts.
Hey guys, it's me, Ryan. Of course, y'all know that already, don't you? Anyway, I'm doing this video today because I got something on my mind. Alright, I heard about the DNA test that Gypsy's doing this week. Now, I think that's so strange to me because I've never once questioned who the baby daddy was. Never once said I'm gonna make a fuss about it or I'm gonna prevent this or do that. I've never said anything like that. I've always said, guys, it's not my baby. Like, I've always said that. And I just think it's funny. You know, it hit me last night. Guys, Gypsy's probably already had that procedure done. Okay? Because you wouldn't tell TMZ about it unless you knew for a fact who the baby daddy already was. So Ken, congratulations. You're still a homewrecker in my opinion. But that is your baby. I've never fought that. Gypsy knows that. It's sad that I have to hear about it through TMZ as far as the test being done. It's really sad. But guys, I've never fought it. I just, it's a way to, because now they're going to probably sell the results. Surprise, surprise. They already know. I put money on it that they already know who the baby daddy is, and that's fine. Like, I just would have waited till the baby's born to make it a simple swab instead of having a procedure. That's just me. But do what you do, Gypsy. I mean, like, I'm just being real. You know, I've never fought you on that. Ever. I've not. I just don't understand your logic sometimes. But, you know, a nice call would have been all right to be like, hey, I'm getting this test done. But I don't know what to expect anyway. So, deuces.
So I agree with Ryan. This could have been something just as like common decency, common human decency, to allow him to know what was going on before he had to find out through TMZ. And I do think that he is spot on with selling the results. I think that aligns with what Gypsy and Ken have done to date. It's the anticipation factor. It's the how can we utilize this for attention factor. And that's something that has followed Gypsy from the time that she was very young. She was molded into this person with the assistance of Dee Dee Blanchard, and now she is still conniving and grifting and trying to figure out how can I use this to my advantage to make more money. You know, I think that Ryan really dodged a bad situation. Unfortunately, this all fell out, and you can tell, you know, he's been hurt, and I've said he's been far too nice to Gypsy many different times on video, where he should have not been so nice and not been so neutral in his stance. This little gremlin has dragged him, disrespected him, and disregarded him like an actual piece of trash. And to see him continuing to defend her or say, oh, well, if she wasn't pregnant, then we would have been talking. Oh, well, if this didn't happen, we might still have had a connection. You're making yourself look like a fool by continuing to say things like that. And I think in this video, it gives off a very different energy. I think that he sounds defeated and over it, and just maybe he's coming to the realization of like, it's really time to move on. It's time to get the show on the road. He's got Pixie, he's got his own house, he's got a really strong fan base of people that are willing to support him on this next chapter. And I hope that this, in between now and the end of the year, I really hope that he ties things up and realizes that he dodged a really bad situation. Allow Ken to deal with the little gremlin. Allow Ken to deal with the fallout, and eventually him coming to the realization that he was used as a pawn too, because Gypsy has patterns and she has shown her behavior to be extremely toxic and very self-serving, and it's only a matter of time before the next person is crumpled up and thrown in the bin. So either way, that's what's going on with this paternity test. Invasive, non-invasive, too early, not too early. I do think that it should have been done by the law once the baby was born, but that's her decision, and she made it, and she knew that this would get people talking. So maybe I'm part of the problem, but as always, I'm here to discuss it with y'all. So that's it for today. If you like the video, please leave a like and a comment, and if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.